Hello and welcome back. Mark Makes here. Last time I was here, I only used one ball of yarn to make all these different ways of starting, and I discovered that really I need to make 3 separate ones to actually show you the different ways of making the stitches in this. The first stitch we're going to be showing is the double crochet. Now that is UK terminology. So if you're outside the UK, that is a single crochet, and I tend to call this really the DC rather than a double. It's the abbreviation term, so I just prefer to use it that way, just me personally. So let's get cracking. We'll show you in the straight version first, then the tube, then the slip ring. Okay? Right, so I'll just move those two out the way, and we're going to be working in this one. Get your hook. This is a 5.5mm hook, and the yarn that I am actually using is an Aran weight yarn, just because it's thicker and it's easier to see. So when you first work your first DC, you miss the first chain and you go into the second one. So you just place your hook into the stitch, make a yarn over, pull that yarn over through. You now have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. Again into the next chain, into the chain itself, make a yarn over, pull that yarn over through. You now have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through both loops, and you just continue that along the row, working your DCs. Remember, through the chain, create yarn over, pull that yarn over through, yarn over and pull through both loops, and you just continue that, working across your foundation chain to the end of the row. I'll just work to the end of this row so you can see how you make a turn. This is, of course, it's working in rows. Oops, did the yarn over there. I was about to do a different stitch. Now I started with 16 chains on here, and I will end up with 15 stitches. Oh, need a bit more yarn. The yarn nearly went on the floor. So remember, through the chain, yarn over, use the head of the hook to pull that yarn over through, wrap the yarn and pull it through. Now just get to the last one. Now remember, the chain, the slip knot, should I say, at the end doesn't count as a stitch, it's just a slip knot. It was just your starting point for making your foundation chain. So there you are, and we can just double count those to make sure you have 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 right at the end there. Twisted up a bit there, didn't it? I'm going to lose this yarn on the floor in a moment. Right, so now to turn, you would chain 1, turn your work and work into this very first stitch. Don't miss it, because otherwise your stitch count will be off. And you just do the same thing. This time you go under both loops on the chain, of the stitch, should I say, sorry. Pull it up, yarn over and pull through. And that is it. So you just continue working DCs all the way along the row. Make sure you get underneath both B's of the stitch. And there you go. So that's working the DC on a back and forward row. Next up, we'll do this one, working in the round. Right, working in a round, or in a tubular, I should say. Now we made the ring, foundation ring, that's just what I call it, I don't know if that's the proper term. You make sure your chains are not twisted, and you would chain one before you start, and when you're connected in that first chain, you would work your DC. Don't go round it. Work it just like you're working in the row. Get into the chain and make your DC. Into the next chain, pull it through, and there you go. So remember, through the chain, yarn over, pull the yarn over through, yarn over again, and pull through those 2 loops. That is working the foundation roll when you make it into a ring. Same kind of concept, but you will be working in the round. So I'll just finish this round and then I'll show you how you go up to the next. It's the same way really. Right, I've just finished finishing that circle, that round, to show you ways you could progress to close the round. Now you can either do a slip stitch, to form and close the ring, and then chain 1 to continue the round again, or just take that out gently. That will, doing it that way will form a seam at the back, or you can go straight in to the stitch and work a double crochet. That makes it seamless, and there's no chaining, but then you are working in a spiral, so you'd have to remember that you're working in a spiral. So you would best put a stitch marker there so you know where is the end or the beginning of the row, just so you don't lose your place. So it's just different ways that you can progress when you're working in the round in a tubular fashion. Alright. Next up is working the same stitch into a slip ring. Right, working into a slip ring. Slightly different, just collecting some yarn there. Just move it to the other side. Now when you're working into a slip ring, you need to make sure you work over the tail, or otherwise you will have trouble working the cinching it closed to make that ring a lot smaller. So there's the first double crochet. I've just popped that in there, and you go round it, grab the yarn, pull it through, and work your DCs as you normally work a DC. but just working it round the loop. Your pattern will tell you how many you need to work. I've just done 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, doing the yarn over again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just leave it there for a moment, and then you get your tail, and you pull that tail to close it up, and then joining, you can either do a slip stitch here, which is basically just a yarn over and going through all the rings, and now it is join, right? Or you can work in the spiral without a chain one. Don't bother with the chain one first, and just work your DCs into the stitch, into the stitches from the row below. And that is basically the 3 different ways you can work your stitches. All the other stitches will work the same, just as longer stitches you can't really work in a spiral. You do have to join and chain up to get your height. But for the DC, you can work in the spiral and it makes it seamless. So there you go, you just continue working round, and then when you get to the beginning one again, you would just continue going round and around. What I'm doing here is actually increasing, because I'm working 2 DCs into each stitch, so I had 8 to begin with. When I get round, I will have 16, because I'm doubling the stitches as I go. And if you're not sure if you've got to the right one yet, always count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. It's just hidden in the corner there, but that's your 16. Right. And you just continue working your stitches in the round as you go, and it just makes a nice spiral. And that would be nice if you wanted to make a spiral using a variegated yarn, and it'll be nice and colourful. So there you go, that is working the DC. And so until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye now.